The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions, and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Oh, shit.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sports Insider. My name is Glenn Spillman, and you are listening to us on Armed Radio out of Boston, Massachusetts. It is a bit somber, Will. I don't know, for those of you who watch on Facebook Live and Periscope and watch the other show that I do, the gentleman and my friends show last Friday passed away. So his name is Taylor. So it's been a somber week, and I was trying to think, show this week, do I not do the show this week? Be quite honest, I mean, I've had a lot of people tell me to go ahead and do the show, advise me to go ahead and do the show. I sit around, think about things, so I did decide to do the show, and again, very sad, and it's still honestly in talk over the whole. It doesn't seem real to me. So this show tonight, even though it's funny, even though Sean Taylor absolutely hated sport, and every time I would talk, or a friend of ours, Jim McMillan, we would talk about sports, he would just not appreciate it. So I will do this show, even though Sean hated sports. I'm going to do the show in honor of Sean Taylor. So, Sean, I appreciate everybody that tunes in and watches the show. We are broadcast in over. Even though this is a sad time for me, hard time for me, this is a way for me, especially talking about sports, I could forget about all of the bad things. Even though Sean hated sports, I really think that he would want me, that I've talked to. So I am doing it. Johnny Gibson, Blender says, hang in there, brother. I got your back. Thank you very much, Johnny. Show-wise, folks, before my show, Johnny Blender has a show called Whiskey, Cars, and Cars. Yes, Guillermo. After the show tonight, Johnny Blender's on every single Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, so it'll be 8 p.m. Eastern. Whiskey, Cars, and Cigars, so go check that out every Wednesday. After my show, we have a brand new show called Simply Casey. Simply Casey, we'll be talking about life tips, business tips, travel tips, basically tips, any part of your life that will make life easier. Manner. So it's an inaugural show tonight. It's the very first show tonight, so it's directly after mine. So check that out. I was in the mall today, and I see Steve. So what's up, Steve? I was on a whim, and I had a hat made. It's probably backwards right now, but Cellar 13 Films hats I had made at the mall today. But anyway, for those of you who do watch the sports show, I'm also a filmmaker. one of the things that I am going to do, Sean and I were working on this film. It's called Camper's Well, which he wrote, and it's been his baby for years. That film for Sean, hopefully do it justice the way that he thought about things, and I'm exactly everything that he. So, as I do every show, keeping up with the scores. For those of you who follow basketball and enjoy basketball, right now, got the Dallas Mavericks playing Hornets. There's about 5.5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It's very close. Hornets are trailing at home against the Mavericks, 100-103. Mavericks have taken that. Neither team really good. Casey says, "Go Mavs." For those of you who know anything about Mavericks, Mark Cuban, Dallas Mavericks. Mark Cuban's also the guy, Shark Tank, and guy way back in the day where he got his riches was through the online betting that he started, and that has brought him his fortune. A couple other notable scores. You've got the Heat beating the Pacers 102-99. The Bucks. The next prophet says, "Give Saints some credit, beat Carolina." I will talk about them in it. Guillermo says, "Cuban could run for mayor of Dallas if he wanted to. They love him." Absolutely he could. Absolutely he could. The Milwaukee Bucks, all year long, I've been telling you guys, they're a very obscure team. They're in Milwaukee. I dare say that nobody could name a player off the top of their head on the Milwaukee Bucks. They are 21-18. They're 13-7 at home. They are beating Orlando Magic. It's almost halftime, 52-44. Milwaukee Bucks have beat high echelon teams all year long. They beat the Wizards. They beat the Pacers, Thunder. They've beat the Sacramento Queens. That's not a high echelon team. And Suns. They're not really a high echelon team either, but they are a thorn in the side of everyone that they play. The game that I'm interested in a little bit later tonight, got the Los Angeles Clippers playing the Warriors tonight, but the Clippers will be in town tomorrow night. I will be at that game. Nate Wren says Tom Brady for president in 2020. Jocko Smith, welcome to the show. Tom Brady, I don't know. I don't know if Tom Brady would. Now, Tom Brady, I don't know if really knows anything about or business for that matter, or how to run a country. Now, if he started somewhere in other realms of politics, now someone that could go for or run for president, there's two people that theoretically and logically could run for president. One of them more than the other. You got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and you got Oprah Winfrey. I was talking to Casey from the show Simply Casey yesterday, and I told her that if Oprah ran for president, she would win. Simply because she's a woman, she's black, got a good head on her shoulders, for the most part, and she is has a lot of love for a lot of people, from a lot of people around the world. Guillermo says everyone hates Trump. Well, Trump did that to himself. But anyway, we're not going to talk about politics. Nate says, no, Tom Brady is not an American hero, Nate. I don't know how many times I got to tell you that. An American hero is like Guillermo over here on Periscope. He's in the military. He's an American. Okay? American heroes are cops, firemen, and military personnel. Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, all of that. Tom Brady is not, and I repeat, N-O-T in capital letters, not an American hero. Absolutely freaking not. And I know you're not joking when you say that, but he's not. So let's just not even go there with Tom Brady. So the next prophet was talking about the Saints. Now I did say Saints would win that game. So let's go over January 6th games. We had the Titans and Chiefs. I called the Titans over the Chiefs. That was a tough game for them to win. They won by 1 point. It was a close game, but they knocked the Chiefs out. Guillermo says if Breeze wins another ring, is he above Aaron Rodgers? Yes. I'll get into that in a minute. Falcons, I was sad to see. Now, this is what happens. The Rams lost their last game at home and against the 49ers. And I said if they lost that game, they would lose in the wild card. Because they did some things that they shouldn't have done. They played at home. They only scored 13 points. They should have won that game against the 49ers. They would have went into the playoffs riding high. Bills-Jaguars, again, I said the Jaguars would win. It wasn't an exciting game. It was a low-scoring game. It was 10-3 Jaguars. Now, the game of the day, in my eyes, is the Panthers and Saints. Now, I will say this. Saints, towards the end of the game, sucked. They allowed the 14 points. Panthers could have came back and won that game, but Drew Brees and company came down, scored a touchdown, and they prevailed. Everything was pretty close, statistic-wise. Jose, welcome to the show. Cam Newton, 306 yards. Drew Brees, 369 yards. But Newton had two TDs, no interceptions. Brees had 2 TDs, 1 interception. The rushing, Carolina clearly crushed it on rushing. You have Carolina with 107 yards and New Orleans with a measly, very 41 yards with only 22 carries, and 2 rushers were negative yardage. Drew Brees, he's not a rusher, but he did rush, -1, and then you had Tommy Lee Lewis, -4 yards. Now the receiving, again, was really close. You've got the Panthers with 9 yards, and the New Orleans with 376. Now the Panthers did step up. They did play well throughout the whole game, but the Saints prevailed. That's the only thing that matters, is the W. So the Saints did go marching in. Now you have the NFC divisional playoff Saturday, January 13th. Got the Falcons going into Financial Field in Philadelphia, playing the Eagles. Nate says, I'm getting on the Tom Brady, take the Patriots to another Super Bowl. Possibly. Not written in stone. Now, here's the thing. You have the Eagles that lost their last game at home against the Cowboys. Guillermo says the NFC seems more competitive than the... Yes, absolutely. So the NFC divisional playoff got the Eagles, which lost at home. They're going in as losers, so they very well could lose that game against the Falcons. The Falcons are favored by 3 points. Now, if the Eagles lose, I will laugh, and I will think it's funny, because they deserve to lose after doing what they did against Dallas. Titans at Patriots. New England is favored by 13.5. The Titans might as well just hand the win because New England is at home. Gillette Stadium. They are going to crush. I do mean crush Titans. Casey says, go Cowboys. Well, Casey, you are delusions. Oh, Topple, welcome to the show. Now, the Titans are plus 700, meaning if you bet $100 and the Titans win, you win $700 plus your back, so $800. The Titans are gonna they're gonna get crushed. Brady's got 32 TDs. Mariota's got 13. Rushing yards, they're pretty even. Receiving yards, Gronk 69 receptions, 1,084. Yeah, so that's not even going to be a real competition. I think that the halftime score of that game is probably going to be New England 28, Titans 6. Probably going to be that. For Sunday the 14th, got the Jaguars and Steelers. Now, Jaguars can go into Pittsburgh and shock the Steelers. They can win that game. Pittsburgh's favored by 7.5, but Jaguars are 10-6. They are for real. Will they win? Probably not. But I'm going to give them a 40% chance. Got the Saints and Vikings. Saints are going in. Minnesota's favored by 4.5. Guillermo says, I don't think Antonio Brown is playing. I will say this. In any of these divisional playoffs, if you as a team are not firing all cylinders, and if you do not have your best foot forward and all your players playing, probably going to lose that game. It is too important, of a game, and sometimes players needs to step up and play hurt. Got to do it. Saints Vikings. I know a lot of people are going for the Vikings in this one. I'm not one of them. Even though they're favored, I'm not one of them. I think the Saints, even though they're underdogs by 4.5, I think Saints are going to take this probably at least by a field goal. Drew Brees, and some people that I've talked to many times over the past few weeks, Drew Brees, and I talked to Nate about this a little bit. Drew Brees wins. A lot of people think that he should go and get up, right off into the sunset, world champion, leave the game of football. Now, the next prophet probably thinks that Drew Brees has another 2-3. Watch the next prophet and let me know. I'm the mindset that if Drew Brees Bowl this year. Yes, he should hang him up as a winner, go off into the sunset, and yes, but next prophet, do you think that Drew Brees has 4 really good years, competitive years, left in him? I'm not saying that he doesn't. I'm saying that it's a probability. So, at any rate, those are my thoughts. The next prophet is a huge Saints fan, so he says he has 1 more year minimum. All right, so if you say 1 more year minimum, so you're thinking at least. I think that 1 more year, possibly. Now let's get. Guillermo says, yes, what's overlooked is that the Saints have a rushing game and a solid D. Any quarterback worth his salt can hand off a ball. It's not that big. Hand off. But yeah, when you have a running game, you're going to drive it down the other team's throat. But I think that, they do have a good crew, if you will. But another 2 years, I don't think so. Big story in the news, you got John Gruden going back to Raider Nation, which I'm excited about that as a Raider fan. I like John Gruden as a coach, as a person. So, a long freaking contract, 10 years, $100 million. So, the Raiders have 1 more year here until they go to Vegas. Is he worth it? Absolutely. I absolutely believe that John Gruden is worth the money. All champion. Players listen to him. He's got excellent football knowledge. He knows how to run a team. He knows how to corral a team. So Guillermo says, if Gruden gets that kind of money, what's Belichick worth? Well, that's a very good question. Let's look up his salary. What's Belichick worth? Belichick currently, right now, gets $7.5 million a year. Is he worth $10 million a year? Well, if he is, freaking Robert Kraft isn't paying him. So, is he worth $10 million a year? Not exactly sure. I don't know. Because after this year, where are all of the players going to go? You think Brady's going to come back for another year? Gronk is injury prone. And this would be the perfect story. Tom Brady goes to the Super Bowl, wins the Super Bowl as a 40-year-old man where people wanted to crucify him and hang him up because he's 40, having a stellar year. That would be the perfect time to hang up the cleats, walk off, say goodbye as a Super Bowl champion. He will be the winningest and, without a doubt, greatest quarterback to ever play the game. Well, thoughts from the gallery. Do you guys think that Tom Brady back? So, John Gruden, 54 years old, $10 million a year as a head coach. 17 years ago, almost to the exact day, Davis gets rid of John Gruden. John Gruden goes over to Tampa Bay, shoves it down the Raiders' throat, and beats them in the Super Bowl in San Diego, California. 17 years ago, Gruden walks away, does his thing, was in the booth for a bit, Now he's back with the Raiders. He's going to take him to the promised land. Now, the Raiders last year almost went to the Super Bowl. The reason why they didn't is because Carr got hurt. Carr has been taking it a little bit this year, Will. And but I think Gruden next year is going to put it in fifth freaking gear, put the pedal to the metal, and he's going to grind it out. The Raiders will probably go 12-4 next. That's my. They did take a step back, but Gruden is going to make some off-season moves, and he's going to bring in some personnel. Going to get rid of some personnel, and he's going to stack the team. And the Raiders are going to dominate in both the passing and the running game. I think that they should get rid of Lynch. I think that they should get rid of Amari Cooper. And I think that they need to use those chips to get better players. Because Amari Cooper, for the past 2 years, has been Butterfingers. And dropping the ball. I don't think that he elevates the Raiders in any way. I think they should keep Crabtree, get rid of Cooper. I think that Gruden is the answer that the Raiders needed. I think that Gruden should have came back a couple years ago. Could have been coaching last year. Well, bar the and the Raiders need to get a better backup quarterback. Gruden needs to clean house on the sidelines. He needs to take a hard look at offensive and defensive coordinator. He needs to look at the sidelines, get rid of some coaches, and bring some new fresh meat in. Gruden will do that. Gruden will do what he needs to do, stack the team, ball rolling. Now, real quick, for those of you like MMA, who are interested in, got an up-and-coming MMA fighter, Jerry Hickman, that is going to be on the show on Friday. There's going to be another MMA fighter on Friday. I will not mention his name. You will just have to tune in and watch. The entire hour is going to be dedicated to Jerry Hickman. You're going to at one time when I was out doing mobile shows, I had an MMA fighter every Wednesday. And we did some revamping and a few things happened, so that kind of fell off the wayside a little bit. But Jerry Hickman, look him up. He's struggled a little bit at times, but he's a cool cat. I've already talked to him for about an hour and a half face-to-face 2 weeks back. Cool cat. We will be talking MMA. All you MMA lovers out there. Oh, Nate says, inbox me the name. Questions ready, because it's going to be a fun show. We are on every Wednesday and Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time, and we cover all aspects of sports, but we've been getting more and more guests on the show. I'm bringing that back. I got away from it for a little bit. I used to have a guest every week, but we're bringing that back. We're going to be here in the near future interviewing three-time world champion Tiger Lopez, talking to a lot of fighters, both boxers and so curious, for those of you who are watching, I'm kind of curious to know where you guys are watching from. Those of you listening and watching, I implore you to go to our website, sportsinsideronline.com. check out the new articles that are up there. Go like our Facebook page, Sports Insider Online. We're trying to build up the page. We got over 1,000 likes so far. And if there's a subject matter that you would like us to talk about, go ahead and email me. All my information's on the site. Email me. Say, hey, man, we'd like to talk about this. Or if you have a question, ask it in the email, and I will make sure that it is brought up on the next show. Going to be doing some call-ins and having people call in here in the near future as well. And on Armed Radio, there are other shows during the week. You've got Pot Talk with Jimmy Bell, which is politically offensive talk. You've got Whiskey, Cars, and Cigars with Johnny Blender. You've got Rock Talk with Amy Chalo. Monday nights you have Lynn Gibson, the Southern Horror Queen. Tomorrow night you've got Night Talk with Joe Rocks. Tonight, making her inaugural debut is Cassandra Spears with Simply Casey. Now, if you go to Periscope, so go ahead and go to Periscope and kind of put her in your mark here. And Periscope, just type in Simply Casey, Kasy, and boom, she will pop up there. Check out her show. Let her know what you think. Get your questions ready because she's gonna be talking about things that'll make your life easier in any different aspect. And she will also be on Facebook Live. So, John Gruden, 10 years, $100 million. So, all these Raider fans out there, they should be excited. Now, again, I am a Raider fan, but I'm going to be upset to go to Vegas. I will never call them the Las Vegas Raiders. I will never buy any Las Vegas Raider gear. If it's given to me, I will give it away. I don't care what it is. Coffee, whatever it is, I will give it away. I don't want. Someone asked over here, what's the medal on the wall? The medal on the wall correlates to the poster next to it called The Choice. The Choice was written by my late friend Sean Taylor, and won audience Best Picture audience award that. Guillermo said that's how he felt about the Sonics moving to City. Now, one thing I will say, I'm glad that when the Sonics left, they changed their name. It would have sucked to have been the Oklahoma City Sonics. Glad they changed the name. Now, when the Raiders go to Vegas, I would rather than change their name to the Las Vegas whatever. Get the Raiders by. Get rid of the name. I think if a team moves, they should get rid of their name. Period. End of story. Someone over on Facebook says Raider fans would follow them to Mars, send free Raiders gear. LOL. Well, that's where I disagree with you, Nate, because I have talked to several Raider fans. If I see somebody out in public that's wearing Raider gear, if I see somebody wearing Raider gear, I go up to them, I introduce myself, tell them what I do, and I ask them a question about the Raiders moving to Vegas. So not all Raider fans will do that. Guillermo says, like the Utah Jazz. They don't play jazz in Utah. The Mormons don't even believe in freaking dancing. They won't even drink a Coke because it has caffeine in it. Yeah, the Utah Jazz. I mean, come on, get rid of that name. It could be, I don't know, Utah. What's in Utah? Mormons, snow, skiing, mountains. Yeah, that's about all I know about freaking Utah. Heck. So, as a fan of the Raiders, will be a fan, but I'm not going to be a fanatic about now Oakland Raiders soon to be like. So, MMA 2018. UFC is teetering right now. They're kind of in the middle. They're not doing great, but they're not doing as bad as they did early last year. Bellator is still making a run and still going up, and they're getting more popular, more popular, and popular, and more popular. And I like Bellator, but let's look at some interesting fights that could be, notable fights in 2018. So you got Demetrius Johnson versus T.J. Dillashaw. From what I know personally about Dillashaw, from what I know about watching him fight several times in person, and his ethics, his ability, I would take Dillashaw in. I will get to this other one a little bit later. Well, no, we'll go ahead and talk about it now. Conor McGregor, Nate Diaz, third fight. Nate Diaz beat McGregor. First fight. Tap out after he slapped him. McGregor won the second fight by decision, which I personally feel that Dana White said, if this goes the distance, McGregor's going to win. That's my personal thought and theory on the thing, because he didn't want his golden boy to lose 2 in a row. And, his mind, he goes, well, if we have a third fight, it will be a mammoth freaking fight, and it'll be a mammoth payday. That's what he was thinking. If you have McGregor and Nate Diaz 3, Nate Diaz is not going to let the fight go the distance, and he is going to destroy McGregor. McGregor's been out of the game for a while. He's rusty. Now, so has Nate Diaz, but Nate Diaz is still training, and he's still ready to go at a moment's notice, but he wants McGregor. He doesn't want other fights. He wants McGregor, period. So, in my opinion, Diaz would destroy McGregor inside of 3 rounds. Not going to let it go the distance, because he's not going to let the third fight go McGregor's way, because that's what's going to happen. Because, let's face it, Dana White doesn't like the Diaz. I don't think he ever has. He wants to see them fail. Well, Guillermo, about the whole thing with GSP, that's up in the air. I would love to see that happen, but a lot of people think, well, he just came in, got his money, won, and left. Which, again, as I said on a previous show, nothing wrong with that. You want to come in and make a quick meal, whatever, so what? Do it. You got a family to feed. You got a life to live. Do it. I think GSP, depending on things that go on, I think he'll fight again, but it's a game. This is the MMA world and the UFC, a cat and mouse game, right? And with the fighters, nothing is truly as it seems in UFC, and there's a lot of things that can happen even on fight day. So until they are in the octagon and the bell goes ding ding, I'm not going to put my cards on anything. So, as everybody talked about, Ronda Rousey, back in the day, lost a couple in a row. embarrassingly, everyone's saying WWE. Ronda can still fight WWE, but it is acting, it is drama, it is choreographed, it is staged, it is written. She can make money there. She's going to draw a crowd there. So some people still think that Ronda can come back and fight. Damaged up here in the brain mentally, not because she's hurt, mentally. I don't think that she is the dominant force that she used to be. I don't think she can be the dominant. So here is a quote from Triple H, A.A. Levesque. Here's a quote. "We are talking to Ronda, and we've been for a while. She has a lot of things going on. We have a lot of things going on. But we have a great relationship with her. Very friendly standpoint for a long period of time now. It was great to catch up with her." I think that she will jump into the WWE because it's, like I said, it's a money. People will go to see her in whatever role that they have her in. I think, depending on how they write it and how things go, she definitely is. I will say this. She will be one of the bad guys. She's not going to be a good person. Guillermo says, "I think the WWE jump change compared to the UFC." Well, look at the money that The Rock made in WWE. Look at the money that John Cena currently makes in WWE. If you're in the popular higher echelon, you make some good money, and millions of dollars. Millions. Ronda will have to... no, the women may not make as much as the men, depending on who. But what's her name? Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair's daughter. She makes good cash. Rousey would make good money, but again, I don't think she's going to come back to UFC unless they just give her some scrub. I don't think that she's going to cut it in the US. I really don't. I think that if they give her any formidable opponent at all, UFC, she's going to come back, she'll lose again. And then her stock will plummet. Go deep, deep. Now, for those of you who watch UFC, you know one of the referees, Big John McCarthy. Now, a lot of UFC people, fighters, have been going over to Bellator. Now, John McCarthy leaving UFC, and he's going to Bellator in the broadcast booth. So, I think that would be interesting. I think he's a good ref to a point. I think there are some things that has happened in the UFC that shouldn't have happened. I think that there's a few fights that he stopped way too freaking early. So I'm honestly glad to see him leave the UFC and go to Bellator. Now, he's been in the UFC since 23 years that he's been in the UFC. So, you know, that's a very long time to be with one company. So I'm interested in what is going to go on with him with Bellator and how he Cyborg. This will be good freaking fight. Cyborg, potential fight against Amanda Nunes. That, my friends, will be the female aspect fight. But in that fight, without even thinking about it, I'm going with Cyborg gets thrown off of her game, fights with emotions. I know all fighters fight with emotions, but she lets her emotions get away from her. She lets her emotions rule her in the octagon. And Nunez is methodical, and Nunez will take a line. She will let her emotions come in, but she harnesses those emotions, and she guides the emotions. She doesn't let the emotions guide her. So, if that fight happens, I think Nunez takes it. Here is what Nunez said on Twitter. First of all, I have nothing personal against Justino. I do believe it is the fight that everyone wants to see, the fight where we can both leave our marks short. So, yeah, they will leave their mark on the sport, but Cyborg's mark, when you think of Cyborg, the first thing that comes to my head, steroids. More than once, more than twice. That's what I think of. And this is what Justino, the Cyborg, wrote on her website. I can continue giving fans super fights. However, in order for this division to grow, it is my responsibility to respect the work of all women fighting at 145 and give the top girls a chance at the title once they have earned it. Amanda Nunes wants the opportunity at the 145 belt. A win against any ranked contender in that division would help establish her back in a weight class she left before fighting me. Okay. That's fair enough to a point, you know. But if someone, you know, I think Nunes has established herself already. Nunes is a champion. And I think if Nunes and Cyborg get to the same weight class, there should be no fight this person, go do this, go do that. I think they should just clash, fight. Period. And that would be a fight. Now, if you had that fight card on the same fight card as Diaz and McGregor, that would be bank. Add a few other stacks on the card, get more early prelims, a couple more prelims, to really make it worth the fans' while that are going. That would be freaking. Robbie Lawler is looking at longer layoff time in surgery on his anterior cruciate ligament. I respect that. I think any athlete, any sport, when you have posterior or anterior cruciate ligaments damage, tear, and repair, should be allowed any time off that you want, because that ligament is so delicate. Those ligaments cross each other like this, and it keeps the knee from going back and forth. It takes a long time to repair, and it takes a long time to get back to 100%. And I've got zero problem with Lawler taking as much time. Take a year, take two, take whatever you want. But what's going to happen is if he comes back too early, what do you think his opponent's going to do? His opponent is going to target that knee. Kick, 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 take down, freaking submit, whatever. He's going to target that because he knows that that is a weak point. And when you are fighting somebody, you're going to find out their weak points. You are going to go after their weak points. It is what it is. In any sport. I mean, heck, if Tom Brady had a torn ligament, what do you think people are going to do? They're going to go after him and go after him and go after him. They're not going to blatantly go after his knees. They're going to freaking go after the guy. So Lawler taking more time off. Again, zero problem with it. So we've got about 4 more minutes left in the show. I want to implore you one more time, go to our website, sportsinsideronline.com, and check out the articles. And Casey's Facebook is Casey Spears, YouTube is Simply Casey. Twitter and Periscope, Simply Casey. In about 7 minutes, her show is going to be on after this. So tune in, Simply Casey, check it out. Email me, let me know what you guys think. Tell her on her show what you think. Go to our website, read the articles, go to our Facebook page and our Twitter, Sports Insider 03 on Twitter. Like our Twitter, like our Facebook page. Do a lot of interactions with our fans, our readers. And on that note, for those of you who write, if you want to be a writer and write sports articles for Sports Insider, go ahead, email me, and I'll get you on. Johnny Blender from Whiskey Cars Cigars did an article on cars, on dragsters and whatnot. In 2 days, it had almost 3,000 views and hits on that bad boy. That was his first article. So go check that out. Follow us. Go check out Casey. Check out the other shows on Armed Radio, Monday through Friday. We are in 60 countries, broadcast in 60 countries right now. And go check that out. So, a few more minutes. We've got just a few more months. We've got baseball season coming. April 5th is the real opening day in baseball. I know they've been opening up early, but April 5th is the real opening day. I'm excited to see what the New York Yankees are going to do with what they've done in the offseason, which they've done quite a bit. And they've spent a little bit of money, like the Yankees freaking do. They are going to, I think, be a heck of a lot better team than they were last year. And they were a good team last year. They've made some good acquisitions in the offseason. They're just going to step up. I think CC Sabathia needs to get a little bit sharper on his game. What CC does, and he's another person that lets his emotion get a hold of him, and screws everything up. But very good pitcher. I will give him that. But he lets his emotions get a hold of him, then he could go and be a very bad pitcher. So, the Yankees are going to be stacked in every single position, field position. What they need, and what I've said over and over and over and over again, they need pitching. They need starters, relievers, and closers. Period, period, period. All three of those. To stack up on your starters, because your starters is what's going to... Now, if you can get a starter that can go deep to the game, we're talking like at least seven innings. That makes your bullpen fresh. Guillermo says Yankees will lead the league in strikeouts. Now, is that striking out or throwing strikes? Hey, folks, that's our show. Come back Friday night. Mr. Hickman will be here. You've been listening to Sports Insider on Armed Radio. Check out Simply Casey after this. See you Friday. Peace out.